and welcome to such an important program that I'm not going to give any sort of a big introduction as I usually do. I'd like to introduce my three guests about this program called Addiction, We Shall Overcome. To my left happens to be the executive director of this film, who will be showing us this film today for the first time on any exclusive TV airing. This is Robert Martinez, who is not only the producer but also the writer of this picture and the one who brought this team together. Next to Robert would be Professor Juan Garcia. Dr. Garcia is a professor of counselor education at the Kremen School of Education and Human Development at Fresno State University, and we're so glad to have Dr. Garcia with us today.
Thank you.
And across from me is Zeng Shang, who happens to be a graduate of Fresno State University, but also the director of this film, which we're going to see in a few minutes if you're good. So please pay close attention so you won't miss any reason for why we're doing this program. Robert, tell us why we're doing this program. How did you get a vision for this topic, and who came to help you create, out of your vision, a DVD film?
Well, I'm a writer and a producer, and I wrote this poem called Addiction, We Shall Overcome. And from that point, I wanted to do something that was going to be helpful for the youth to fight drug abuse and send a message out. So as I wrote this poem, I was there I left it on my archive for about a year and a half. And something kept telling me to get this message out to the youth. You know, so I had this constant message, Robert, you need to do something with my work.
Yes.
So from that point on, I went out and I went out and got my nephew. He's a hip hop artist, and I approached him about doing this poem into a soundtrack.
Is that Matty G?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Matty G is my nephew. He's a hip hop artist, and from that point on, we scripted. We made it youthful, and I wanted to do that. So we went to his studio to record live in a professional studio, and it was done at I can't remember right offhand the studio, but we recorded it there, and it was such a good, powerful track that we recorded that I needed to do something else with it. So I wanted to put a video behind the soundtrack. I wanted to make an image along with the music to go together, and I couldn't find nobody in Fresno that I would go on location to film this. So someone recommended me to go to Fresno State to find a film crew there, and that's where I met my director, X. And from X, we got together, wrote the script, went on location, and started filming this video.
Well, let's talk to Triple X over here. Zeng, tell us how you really got involved and what made you decide I'll invest my time and energy in Robert's project.
Well, when I was growing up, I see people's life gets ruined by drugs and gang. And, at that time, I didn't have the knowledge or the courage to speak up to them. So with my video production skill right now, and with Robert's wonderful script and the powerful song, I thought that it's the right time for me to try to make a change and try to impact the people's life with this music video. So that's how I started with Robert, and It actually came out pretty good, and
It did.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show it, but before we show it, we still have to introduce Dr. Garcia and figure out where he fits into the scheme of things. Juan, how did you get involved? And this idea of the relevance of this topic professionally, tell us why this is so important to you. And then finally, tell us a little bit about the dynamic of families that you see this film touching.
I actually first heard about it through an email. It was a mass email that went out at Fresno State to all the faculty.
Wow.
And so, and Otto Benavides, who directs our technology there at the Kremen School, I responded to him and said, well, I might be interested in looking at it, because he was asking the faculty to come out and support it by writing a script or something that would help promote the film in some way. And so I didn't have any idea, but I was, since I am involved in the addiction field, I'm at Spirit of Women, which is a local drug addiction treatment program for women. And so I thought, well, maybe if I get involved with this film, we could use the film to educate the women there. So that's how I got in. As soon as I responded to that email, I started hearing this name, Robert Martinez, and calling you, leaving you messages and stuff. And so finally one day he just showed up at my door, and there he was, and he. So I really liked what he presented, and we hit it off, connected, and I had some other ideas, and so that's how I got involved. And that was just like not even 2 short months ago, I think.
Boy.
Yes.
2 or 2.5 months ago.
And yet it had been percolating with Robert for a long time.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Zhang, I'm wondering if you can tell us anything before we see it. Some of the locations, why you chose them, how important they were they the ones you wanted, and the difficulties in doing a DVD. It sounds so simple. Oh, everybody can make a movie now, Jim. Not really. They can make trashy things. You made a very fine film. Tell us about the challenge of doing that.
Okay, first of all, because this is a low budget video, we have many challenges regarding locations. We were denied a location. Me and Robert were denied a location because we were trying to depict the real we had to depict the real location, and we went to the tent city, and we were denied a location from a homeless man. And we respect his privacy, so we just left that area, and then we had to move on to a different location because of that reason. So those are like little challenges that we encounter as guerrilla filmmakers.
Yeah, right.
I would say that because we didn't have the money to pay for a big setting or for
But
people.
I think people will be impressed saying
Yes.
the visuals of the city of Fresno, they're exclusively Fresno, no?
Yes.
They're quite typical of our life, and you captured a lot of the underside of our city very, very well. Now, Juan, professionally, tell us a little bit about the prevalence, the increasing prevalence of drug addiction, drug use among the youth. You were saying especially among the very young. Tell us some of the sad stuff.
Well, actually, it continues to be a major problem in our community, not just here in Fresno, but nationally. If you would look at the arrows of the direction of drugs, they all seem to be coming into our country from other parts of the world. So that's one indicator. Another one is that, and that's what's scary for me, is that younger and younger kids are using, being exposed to it, trying it out. And that's what I like about the film, because it really speaks to that point. Why even try it when you have things going for you? That's one of the underlying messages. And so, we have kids that right now, I'd say like 11% of kids in any given past 30 days are trying it out for the first time. 12 to 17, 13% of the children, 13 to 17 are using at one point or another. But what's even scarier, or just as scary, is 18 to 25. We're talking about 28% of 18 to 25-year-olds are using some kind of illicit drug, such as cocaine, methamphetamines, marijuana, even over-the-counter prescription drugs. And it tends to even out, or when you hit 26 and above, then it drops significantly to about 6, 7, 8%, which is still high, by the way. And so that's just for illicit drugs, including marijuana. But for marijuana use, or let's go over to alcohol, 12 to 17 years of age, we're talking 16%. In the last, the prevalence, and we're talking prevalence, 1 year prevalence, in the last year, they have had alcohol, at least 16%. But again, 18 to 25, we're talking 60%.
Boy.
60% of 18 to 25-year-olds are using alcohol in the last year.
Using it, let's say abusing it, I'm thinking, not just drinking, but rather abusing of alcohol.
Well, I think it's more abuse.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are using it. Most people use it with moderation. When they get to that point, they're adult. They start taking on responsibilities. They have family, work, and so that kind of lowers the use. But when you're 18 to 25, you're still trying to find yourself, trying to establish your identity, your profession, and it's really difficult. And so that's when the abuse dependence really spins out of control, and that's where the problem is. And and even then, you're at least 16% of those. It's tied into a mental disorder, which I can expand on a little bit later.
In the second half of the program, when we have one of the guests coming from Spirit of Woman, we'll be able to talk about programs for this. Right. Zhang, before we let you go, one last thought, maybe briefly. One last thought you want to share about the importance of doing a film like this, directing a film like this.
Well, I have to say that I enjoy making this film, and I hope that this film can get distributed out to many people and will hopefully change their life, just like, it changed Robert and our vision, so hopefully this will create an impact in the community.
On that note, we're going to drop right now into Addiction, We Shall Overcome.
Last night, the body of a young male was found at Gable Park. Investigators say that a meth overdose was ruled as the cause of death, and though police refused to release any identification, they believe that the individual's body was left at the park by his friends. This marks the 100,000th methamphetamine-related fatality of this year. Let his death be your wake-up call. Be your wake-up call. Wake-up call. Wake-up call. Wake-up call.
Now she used to be such a beauty queen. She was living the life, fulfilling her dreams, but she got caught up in a wicked scheme. Hanging with the wrong people, got in the wrong scene. Had to choose between her friends or being clean, but she chose to be a fiend instead of the prom queen. So she picked up the rock and started smoking. Little did she know she had a price to pay. Doctors even noticed she was living in a plague. Face all disfigured like she hasn't slept in days. Crack baby in this world, born to be a slave. What a heavy price to pay to be born this way. Now you're on your down come, glitter glitter's what you crave, but no cash in hands to get her past that phase. The only way to get your hands on some rock is to sell yourself on the corner of your block. That's a life you chose to live until your heart stops. You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Addiction is what we shall overcome. You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Drug abuse is what we shall overcome.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Now I used to know this guy, we called him the skinny one. He used to think that he was so much fun, sticking needles in his arm until the break of dawn. He knew from the beginning it would cause him harm. Now he got an addiction that he can't overcome. He had a fresh start, but look what he's become. High school dropout, living like a bum, cause he came from a family where there was no love, where life wasn't real and no one gave a fuck about your feelings, your pain. So he shot up through the veins, snorted cocaine just so he could get away. Now he high as a kite, but the corner's where he stay. Now your brain's in your head, but your mind starts to stray, knowing that you're tainting the family name. But that's how life goes in the dirty dope game. Dirty dope game. Dirty dope game. You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Addiction is what we shall overcome. You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Drug abuse is what we shall overcome. You got 1, 2, 3 good friends, thinking that this bond between friends can never end. Playing around with darkness, smoking on some meth, passing around the drug that'll bring you to your death. His friend took a hit that took his last breath, dropped him off at the park. Now there's 3 friends left, but the only worry's who's gonna get the next rep. Can't you see drug use is why problems begin? Robbing and stealing between the best of friends. You had so much potential, you were such a bright kid, but you keep smoking that shit that's gonna bring you to your end. So to all you young ones thinking you can play this game, getting away without pain, in the dope game there ain't nothing to gain, but your parents stressing out about you night and day, waiting for the reaper's call just to put you in your grave. Keep dancing with the devil, that's the price that you'll pay.
We shall overcome. 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 We shall shall overcome. We shall overcome.
You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Addiction is what we shall overcome. You'll never defeat the hell that you created. Is this everything that you anticipated? You did it for the friends, now look what you become. Drug abuse is what we shall overcome.
I have to tell you, I hope you enjoyed that DVD film video as much as I did, and if you did, stay tuned, because in 1 minute we'll be back to talk more about it and to meet someone who has been very, very much touched by it. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
KNXT TV is proud to say thank you to all its viewers who have given their support for over 25 years. And only through your support is KNXT able to provide spiritual and informative programming. Please remember KNXT in your long-term support through wills, bequests, trust, and plan giving. Your gift is important to the future of Catholic television. Help preserve the strength of KNXT's message based on the teachings of Christ. Keep KNXT in your future plans.
Hello and welcome to the second part of our program, in which we're actually going to talk about the film you have just seen. We hope that really and truly this doesn't only reach you, but that you could call the station. You could also look at the credits at the end of the program to see how to be in touch with the executive producer, Robert Martinez. We're so glad that Robert was here sharing us this first project of his in his new company, New Birth Inspiration. We're so glad that Dr. Garcia is here, who wrote a study guide that introduces those who buy the video not only the joy of knowing they have a fine product that visually pleases, but there's also a lot of content and a guide to help you use this product. And across from me, our new guest is Angelica, who is going to be able to share her own being affected and touched and impressed by seeing this film when it was brought to her Center of Spirituality, Spirit of Woman. We're so glad you're here with us, Angelica.
Thank you.
Robert, congratulations on this very first completed project of your many that are going to happen. Is there something that we didn't say in the first half of the show about the film that you definitely want to let us know? It was part of the production, it was part of your work, it was part of your dream. Where do you want to start this part of the show?
Well, this video was based on a lot of life history, because I am a recovering addict, and I was in that world of madness for 19 years.
Wow.
And now I'm a recovering addict. I've been sober for 23 years. And during that time, I lost a brother to alcohol and drugs at the age of 51.
Oh.
So I'm firsthand knowledge about living in that world. And my statement to making the video is to prevent drug addiction and to prevent lives going in that path. The video it's very inspiring. It's I've previewed it at several recovery centers, and each time I have previewed this video, you know, some of the addicts start crying. Some have to leave the room. It's that powerful, and I'm proud of the accomplishment of the video, and I'd like to thank all my crew and Maddie Jeep, who sang the video, did an excellent job.
Did a great job.
Excellent job, and I'm well happy with the product.
You should be. Now, Juan, you really got in there with him knocking on your door at the university and getting you involved. Bring us up to date on your own appreciation of the success of your project.
Well, I'm really, it was really hard hitting. When I first saw the video, it really struck a chord, you know, not only because I direct the mental health component at Spirit of Woman, and I could see that it resonated with all the women there. I could see that everyone had a start, just like in that video. Someone offered it to them, someone tried it, someone became dependent on it, somebody became addicted to it. You know, and that's also true, you know, and with family members in my own family life, growing up with my friends. Even myself, I'm a recovering addict as well. I've been clean from alcohol for 12 years and from harder drugs, you know, for 25 years.
Congratulations.
And so, you know, and I was doing this, and people think that people who are educated or have university positions don't abuse, but you know, it's prevalent, and you know, I was just lucky enough to be able to get to a point where I had people that loved me enough to want me to get cleaned up. And so that's what happened, and I decided to dedicate the rest of my professional career in working in this field. But, you know, that film, to me, if I would have seen something like that when I was, you know, in high school or junior high school, it really would have scared me to even want to try. And that's what I think is the most powerful issue or point of watching what Robert was able to produce and put out here.
Well, I really think Robert had a tremendous clear vision. He had tremendous professional help, and Zhang did a fine job of directing, because when you think of a film, you think of the director, you think of what he or she was able to get out of the actors, what was he or she able to get out of the production. Now, the proof's in the pudding, so now we have Angelica, who could tell us about herself, any way you'd like, about Spirit of Woman. Tell us about that program, and also a little bit about how this film struck you, Angelica, as seeing it. Tell us about how you saw it and what it did for you.
Well, my name is Angelica. I'm 22 years old. I've been at Spirit of Women for over 7.5 months, and I have about a month left. That music video really touched me because it started bringing up like old memories and old feelings, because I lived in a family that's been around addiction. It's like my grandma and my mother, they've been in and out of prison, in and out of jail, been smoking their whole lives. I mean, they're still out there doing it, you know, but for me, like, it just brought up a lot of feelings that I've had, and I don't know, it just touched me. It touched me really good.
Tell us about the time, I guess, you met Robert when he came to Spirit of Woman.
Yeah.
And then he came and obviously was addressing the women.
Mm-hmm.
How was that day? How was he? How was that film touching the other young ladies there?
Well, when he came and presented the film, everybody was like real anxious to kind of see it. So like when we sat down and we started watching the music video, I mean, there was girls in there that were crying and like, God, like they couldn't believe, like they actually seen like what some of the music was offering, like, you know, just the drug addiction and how we can overcome it. And it's just like, there were some girls in there that had to leave. Like, they were just like, wow, like, I guess it touched a lot of us in a way you could say it, like, it really brought up a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
So
Robert, you obviously met, I'm supposing, Angelica that day.
Yes.
And how did you make that connection to even ask her and invite her to be part of a panel? How hard was, well, let me ask Angelica that one. How hard was it for you to be here today to decide you would come on a panel?
Well, a therapist there at Spirit of Women, my therapist Trina, she was asking that I guess he was looking for somebody that wanted to talk and I guess express what they felt about the music video. So when she had told me about it, I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to talk about it, because it has touched me and it has brought up a lot of things that had happened to me in the past, in my past life. So I was like, sure, you know, I was willing to just come and talk about it.
I'm so glad you did.
So,
how did you feel the response? You say that the response is almost universally successful.
Yes.
People see this and they respond.
I see it all the time. Every time I preview it at all places, that people who see it, sometimes, most of the time, they start crying, and most of the times they react. The youth, when I preview it, they really get it inside the video and inside themselves, and then after that, they start sharing the truth within themselves, and it comes out flowing, and I see the power of the video.
Juan, you help us figure out how you could see this used, how you would wish it could be used professionally, publicly, socially. Where do you see this film going with your study guide?
Well, I think that this film could be used at all levels. I mean, obviously, it's used at the drug treatment program. You know, for Angelica, it struck a deep chord with her, and so, you know, she was able to cooperate and with compassion and come out and try to get the message out as well. I could see it being used with adolescents, you know, in the junior high school level, at the high school level, just to keep one kid away from even trying it. If it keeps one kid, it'll keep two kids. And because a lot of kids, the earlier you start using, the longer it's going to take for you to recover.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's another thing. But I also see this, you know, could be used with adults as well, in adult school, at the community college level, at the university level, training counselors and addiction specialists, you know, to watch that film and see, you know, if it strikes a chord with them, and learn some of the little guide for how to use it. took a lot of thinking and a lot of back and forth between Robert and myself, coming up with the questions and that they could be asked in a discussion for discussion purposes. And I think it was, and it really looks really nice. It's a very nice product, and I really feel proud to be part of it. And I'm happy that Robert put out that mass email and that he came knocking on my door, because it talked to me.
I'm so glad, and it obviously talked to Angelica, it talked to Zhang to decide to direct. Robert, we're going to post up your contact information right now. So could you walk us through how they'll reach you? Because people may want to either purchase the film, or they'll want to have you come and speak at their school or church, or they'll want to be in touch with you. So how is your information? How do we reach you?
You can reach me on my website, would be up. It's www.newbirthinspiration.com, and my email is rnow@newbirthinspiration.com, and my cell number is 559-776-2212.
Thank you so much. We have about a minute. That leaves each of you, let's say, 20 seconds each. Angelica, a final thought you'd like to share with perhaps people in recovery?
Well, my thought would be if, they would see the music video and they would have like an outlook on what I had on the music video, and that would maybe get somebody not to want to try and use. Because, I've been an addict for 7 years and I'm barely recovering. It took me this long to recover, to open my eyes to finally see, I don't need that stuff. But I want this message to get across to all the younger people, like they don't need that stuff. They really don't.
Thank you. So, and you're right, we don't. And you're right that we need to get the message out to young people. Juan, there's no time, and Robert, there's no time to say, give us 15 seconds, but I'll say this. It's been a privilege hearing from Robert over the years, and then to know we could finally do a program on one of his dreams coming to reality. I hope you enjoyed the program, and be back next week. God bless.